Hi everybody, Marissa here with Adobe Photoshop for Beginners, lesson number 15, and this is part 2 of brushes. So let's just get started. First of all, what we always do is get on the same workspace. So those who don't know how to do it, just go to Essentials and then once again open up again and reset Essentials. I'm going to go and open up a new document, so it's File New or Control N or Command N on the Mac, and I'm going to take Custom A4 with a white background. Once that is open, let's just open up a new layer. So down here below we can create a new layer, and that is so I won't work on the background. The background is just so it will be easier for me to see what I'm doing. I'd like to go and create a brush just to show you and remind you how to do that. So let's just go to the brushes, and I'd like to go straight up to Dry Media Brushes and Kyle's Ultimate Charcoal Pencil. At the moment it's at 25 pixels, so I'm going to change that to 200, and let's start creating. I am using a pen pad, so if you have one, use it. If not, you can follow along with just using the mouse. Those who don't know what a pen pad is, you can go to my other video. Also, it's the one about the creating brushes, and there I do explain what a pen pad is. Once you've drawn out your shape that you want, the brush shape that you want, you go to Edit and Define Brush Present. And here I'm just going to call it New, and it should be the last one that we have. At the moment it's very, very big. It's over 2,000 pixels, nearly 3,000. So in order for me to reduce that, all I need to do is click on the brackets on my keyboard. I'm clicking on the left bracket and I can go down, and if I don't know where that is, I can go here and just change the size. At the moment I'll go for 200. I'm going to close off this eye and create a new layer. So in my last lesson we learned a lot about the brush settings and all those things, but today I want to carry on and I want to do textures. So let's just click on textures. Now I haven't gone into shape dynamics, which normally does help also with textures, so I should actually go in there first and then do the textures, but that's not what we're going to do now. We're just going to do the textures, but know that you can use all of them together. I'm going to go and get a texture, and that's Artistic Brushes Canvas, and I'm going to take the second one. And when I draw now, you'll notice that nothing really happens. It just looks black, and the reason is because I have to change the mode. Now I will go and do a whole movie about modes, because we have modes all over, and but not for now. So just for this lesson, just go to multiply, and trust me, that's what's going to give you the textures. And here we already have it. So once I draw, I can get a texture. And if I would like to enlarge the actual texture, I can just go to Scale, and let's just put in 300, and notice that already I can see it's larger over here, and when I draw it is actually larger. I can obviously also go into Depth and the Depth Jitter, and if I want I can also go into Pen Pressure. So try out those things if you wish, and try out also different textures and see what you get. You can also add on obviously different colors and start having fun. And if you want, you can also go into the flow, which will obviously give you light, and then as you go on it gets darker and darker, and you can change your textures and really to anything. Let's just see what else I've got here. Maybe dirt or stones. Let's go to stones. So that's stone. Okay, I'm going to go to the next type of brush. Great, the next one I'd like to do is color dynamics. So let's just switch off texture and go to color dynamics, and here I'd like to do a few things just to show you what is actually happening. So click on that, and let's go and choose a foreground and a background that have different colors. So for the foreground we can go to red, which is fine, and the background, let's just go to, I don't know, maybe a green color. Perfect. And I will go to brush tip shape. I'm going to go for a hardness of 100, which is perfect. And what I would like to change here, it's just a round brush and it's got 150 pixels. I think that's okay. And what I'm going to change here is actually the spacing. And the reason I'm going to do that is to show you what happens to the color. So let's just go up to 100 spacing. And you'll notice that now I'm going to get spot after spot. So if I start drawing, I'm just going to go back to my color dynamics, and I'm working with the mouse at the moment. I'm not even going to use my pen tool. So if I click and go down, I'm getting only the reds, and that is because my foreground and is on 0. It means only the foreground's going to come along. Now if I put it onto say 100%, it's going to give all the colors between the red and the green. If I go to 50%, it's going to give a different range of colors. So I can change this around all the time. Now I can also change the jitter of the hue so it gets muddled up. So let's just go to 50% over here as well and see what happens. Now I'm starting to get more color. I can do the same with saturation. I can upload that to 50, and then I can do the brightness, and then I can get the purity. So play around with that and find out what it does for you, and try and use different kinds of brushes to see what happens when you do that. The next one I'd like to show you is the dual brush. So it's this right over here. Now in order for me to use the dual brush, I first have to go and choose a brush, whatever I really want. But I'm going to, just so I can show you, I'm going to take the hard round brush, which means I've got 100% hardness. It's at 200 pixels, and the spacing at the moment is 5%, which is okay for this moment. And then I'll go to the dual brush, I'll press on that, and I'll go and find, once I click on dual brush, I'm going to get a whole lot of brushes here. But I don't want color burn, I want multiply. So let's just go to multiply, and let's just choose something. I'm choosing this, and the pixels, remember I had 200, so let's just go up to 200 pixels so we can actually see what's happening. And here I'm getting all these stars. Now if I were at 100%, I'm not actually using everything unless I go to scatter, and then notice how when I go to scatter, it still gives me the outside of that brush. So what it's doing is I'm having the first brush that I wanted to use, which was the round brush, a hard round brush of 200 pixels, and I'm putting something inside that, and then together they are creating the brush and the actual other brush that I chose. Let me just see if I go to that, what happens, and if I make this bigger, it's totally different. And what happens if I go to say a butterfly, and I'm going to go to 200, or maybe less than 200, and I'll get the butterflies. I'll get the butterflies within that brush. So once again, there is so much that you can do here, and you can play with the spacing and with whatever else you've got, and it can be scatter on both. So check out everything it can do and start playing around with it, and I'm sure you'll get great ideas. The next one is transfer, and this is a great one, and let me just show you what it does. I'm just going to open up a new layer. I can actually throw these two layers away so it doesn't bug me. I've got a new layer here and it's clean, and I'm just going to go and take a normal brush, a hard round brush that's perfectly alright, to show what it does. So if I normally go and just color a brush, it looks like that. I can actually change the spacing. Let's change the spacing to 100, and then maybe I'll see how it works. Well, maybe, yeah, let's start off with 100. So if I did it for 100, we'll go like that. And if I go to transfer, and I go into transfer, and I change my opacity, let's just go for 100%. notice that it's going to be lighter and darker and lighter and darker, and even some of it is going to totally go away. So what it's doing is it's making parts much with opacity, like up here when we have opacity. So if I go, I'm just going to switch this off a moment. If I go up to opacity over here and I just click on, let's just say 100%, I'll get black. If I click on 50%, I'll get gray. And if I pick up, let's just say 10%, I'll get a very, very light color. You can hardly even see it. Now, in opacity, I'm just going to go to 50% so you can see. When I draw and I don't pick up the pen all the time, I'm going to get that gray. I'm carrying on just drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing. But flow is not actually the same thing. I'm just going to put my opacity back to 100. Flow, if I go down to say 10%, oops. What it's going to do is, I'm just going to switch this off and open up something. What it's going to do is it's going to, once I go over and over and over, it gets darker and darker and darker. So it starts off very light and gets darker as I paint. I'm not picking up and stopping my my actual mouse. So also with transfer, and why I'm showing you this is because I've got the same thing right over here. I've got the opacity one, which I can put to 100%, and I've got the flow one. So if I put a flow to say 20% and the opacity is 100%, notice that it's going to go over again and again, just like this flow does over here. So now I'm going to go back to my brushes, to the brush tips, and I'm going to put this down to say 20%, and then you'll see how that works. And if I want to go further, I can go into my shape dynamics, and I can start sizing off everything. I can go into my control pressure, and I can size this up, and this will be minimum. And if I take my pen, notice that I can start off with and start going really, really thin. And the great thing about the transfer is that you can actually start off where, if you're using the pen pressure, start off from very, very light and going much, much darker and thicker. So you can do actually that, and you can see here that it's much, 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 much lighter. You can play around with it until you get to exactly what you want. Okay, so the next tool I'd like to show you is the mixer brush tool, and it's pretty amazing. It gives you endless opportunities. So just click on B on the keyboard or go into your brushes and take the last one, which is mixer brush tool. And here let's go into let's just say go to the mega pack, and I'll go into oils because I know you can find many of those kind of brushes here, and here you can see the symbol of the brush itself. And let's just pick okay, crackerjack. That sounds good. So the first thing I want to show you is that here you have the actual colors, the solid colors, but there are more things than just the color, and I'm going to show you what you can actually do with it. So let's go and change colors. I would like to pick 3 different colors. We'll pick red for the first one, and I'm going to enlarge my brush. So I'm clicking on the keyboard, and I'm just going to draw. Now at the moment I'm on custom. My wet is 1% for some reason, load is 100, and mix is 0. So we can go for those for now, and I'll explain to you in more detail what they mean. So the first thing I want to do is just create a red color. Just color it a bit like that in. I'm going to create 3 different colors joining into themselves, and you'll see why. And the next color we'll take, let's just take a kind of greenish color, and we'll put this over here. And notice that it is mixing in with the red, but not a lot, and that's because the wet and the mix are very, very low at the moment. But that's fine for now. And let's take one more color. You can take a bluish color. Perfect. And just mix that in from here. Okay. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you the amazing thing that this can create. Now, my brush is at the moment at 500. So I'm not sure I'm going to get a whole lot of this. I think I might have to enlarge my brush, but let's check it out. So I'm just going to go to load solid colors only and click on Alt on the keyboard, keep that down and go in between the three here and just click. And notice what I'm getting. I'm getting actually these three colors. Now they're going to be mixed. When I draw, I'm just going to pick a new layer and maybe we can turn this off. So when I draw, they're actually going to be mixing together. I'm getting those three. And it depends which way I am actually moving my pen mouse. So this one I'm going this way, and this one I'm going this way, and I'm getting different colors. Now if I make it slanter, and I can. Okay, so let's open up a new layer, and this one we can close off, and we're just going to pick a different kind of brush. Real Oil's Cake Brush. Okay, let's go for that. And let's just take, that color's okay. So I'm just going to color with it a bit. And then I'm going to go and take another color. And I want to see how it mixes. So at the moment I'm on dry heavy load, but I can change that to very wet heavy mix and see how that works. So notice how when I start painting, I'm going really in and how much it's mixing here. Now if I were to go on a dry one, it will be very different. It goes on top. Do you notice the difference? So what I suggest is just start playing with all of these different mixes and see what happens, and you're going to find amazing things, I'm sure. Anyway, I want to say thank you so much for joining me, and please comment down below and subscribe if you haven't, and you can put that notification button on and see when I put up a new movie. I'm going to do a video about taking a photograph and turning it into a painting, so I hope you're going to join me for that. And that's all for now, so have a great day and bye.